what just happened is going to sound even better.
That's fine.
Oh my God, it's going to sound amazing this time.
I'm not upset in the least.
I'm upset. This is my upset face. Welcome to Con Carne, presented by Alex Ross Art. Alex Ross, a legend in the world of comics and graphic novels. Alex Ross has his own YouTube channel, and here's Alex Ross to tell you why you should subscribe to it.
Hi, this is Alex Ross. I appreciate you guys supporting our YouTube, and we create new content every week. I hope you will continue to support us, and please subscribe.
It's Con Carne. Let's meet in the car. It's Con Carne. And now here's the star of our show, James Van Alstyne.
So to my right, if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube or just listening, you can imagine, to my right, it is Johnny Iguana. He's a Blues Music Award nominee, a Living Blues Award nominee, co-composer of the score for the first two seasons of FX's hit show, The Bear. He is also a founder of the Claudettes, a band, a group which was described by the Minneapolis Star-Tribune as a skewed cabaret band of blues, jazz, and rockabilly, a sensibility that feels equal parts James Dean and David Lynch. The Claudettes, Old Town School of Folk Music. That show is happening on Saturday, the 9th of December. We're recording it mere days in advance. I'm glad we were able to coordinate this. I know you're going to be out of town like as soon as I drop you off tonight. So the Old Town School, we'll talk about that show. I mentioned the fact that you are the co-composer for the score for The Bear, the critically acclaimed, much beloved The Bear. As such, I thought we would eat Italian beefs, because that's what you have to do, right? If we're talking about The Bear?
If you want to, yeah, stick to the narrative, yeah.
I'm sticking to the narrative, but here's the plot twist. You are the co-composer of the score for The Bear, the FX hit show. You told me before we started recording you're not an Italian beef fan. Is that allowed?
I had to fudge the paperwork, of course, to get that gig. But I had this discussion when I first moved out here and was in the Junior Wells band when I was a kid, and they said, "Man, Philly cheesesteaks," because they knew I was from Philly. I am in Chicago, but that's my point of origin. And they said, I don't really get the Philly cheesesteak. And so at that point, I tasted Italian beef, and I was able to. On guard, because to me at the time, I can't wait to taste what we got here. I haven't had one in a long time because it seemed like gray beef sogging up a not very good bun with like overcooked peppers in it, like and a salt bomb, versus a wonderfully textured, tasty Philly cheesesteak, which is just one of the great foods on earth. So
you're drawing battle lines,
but I haven't had it in a long time, and maybe I've matured, maybe I've changed for the better.
We all mature with age. We all get a little more receptive and open-minded as we...
Maybe I was jingoistic about, Philly in terms of as far as sandwiches go.
So we're going to eat because the food's hot. I want to get to that. And we'll talk about The Bear after we talk about the Claudettes. We're outside Fatso's Last Stand over here on Oakley and Chicago Avenue in Ukrainian Village. Let's bust these open. Now, the thing about the Italian beef, the way to really eat a beef is... dip. You want it wet. You want the au jus drenching the bun. You want it drenching the beef. When you're eating in a car, not as good of an idea. So we got these dry. It just seemed like the safer of the options.
It's still not going to be totally dry.
No, I mean...
it's just relative, right?
This is still going to be a messy... Oh, see...
You see
Johnny Iguana
already?
Johnny Iguana of the Claudettes. I don't know what your issue is. This looks absolutely gorgeous.
Oh, you're filming it? Okay.
Look at that. I
thought you were putting condiments on it. Okay. No need. Yeah. So, but I like the look of the peppers.
The jardinera is a must. I got us the spicy jardinera. So
yeah. Well, that's. What
I hope you're okay with that.
Absolutely.
And you're right. Even though we got these dry.
Oh yeah. This is a
damp. This is a damp sandwich.
It is. It's.
All right, Mr. Philly cheesesteak. Welcome to Chicago. I know you've been here for 3 decades, but. Come on. The spices on the meat, the jardinera.
It doesn't bum you out that the bread soaks up so much that it becomes liquefied?
Not at all. That's part of the experience. We're going to need to hose off after this, too.
I was going to hose off anyway, but can we do a cheesesteak one sometimes? But
I would love to.
We have to take a long distance trip because it's going to have to be in the general Philadelphia
Can we do
area.
it with the full roster of the Claudettes?
Well, our vegan drummer, we can drug him or something like that, and we can.
There is some peril involved with eating
the picking up, and now I'm turning it around. Oh no, the container's preventing me from turning it around.
So when you signed whatever kind of NDA or documents with FX, they didn't insist that you only speak positively of beef. It's kind of it's like working on the new Wonka movie and saying chocolate sucks.
Well, the vast majority of the show, they've gone. The whole kind of point is that they've gone beyond the beef, and they're going to be a fine dining place now. So I don't think I'm, I don't think I'm upsetting the current characters of the show because they've moved on as well.
All right, we'll go back to the bear. Claudettes, again, Old Town School, Saturday the 9th. What a great venue for this band. Your first time playing it. Let's talk about the fact you have a new lead singer. Here's what I worry about the Claudettes. Are your lead singers kind of like red shirts on Star Trek? You've had a couple.
Well, in fairness, the last one was with us almost 7 years. But Rachel's been with us almost a year now, and it was quite a godsend in that I wasn't sure how to proceed when Barrett had said she was going to move on. But quickly I was reminded that there's a Claudettes fan in town who's been singing in town here in a band with actually our bass player. He sang with her previously, and then all of a sudden he said...
So she was already all in with...
I saw a post of hers on social media all about the Claudettes, and I'd forgotten to kind of connect that was her. And so she came over very enthused, and it just very clearly it was like, this is different, as it should be. Humans are different from other humans. Singers are different from other singers. Sure. But very, very accomplished and powerful singer. I used to say when we first met, the simple disparity I drew was that Barrett was a melter and Rachel's a belter. But Rachel is just as versatile as anybody. You just got to kind of spend time with someone and kind of hear them. Very quickly we got going, and I wrote a lot for her. And it is just killer. And we've already recorded almost a whole album already. And the shows are just kind of off the charts now. Rachel's... she's 6 foot. She's got a mohawk. She loves dressing up, and she's just all over the stage.
She cuts an image.
She just. I was with her recently, and I can attest. 3 different people on our recent tour paid her the compliment of calling her an alien, and that might upset some people. Maybe, I don't know, but she. I think she took it, and I took it in the kind of Bowie way.
Yes.
Like that. Especially since she kind of dresses like that at times. So we're going to play that up a little bit in a way that is in the works right now. But
well, you said there's almost an album done, or written or recorded. Our first real big taste of this version of Claudettes, No Matter How Much, just did a video for that. The song has a nice, slow, menacing build to it, and I think you play on that.
Yes.
In the video. I mean, Rachel enjoys the arms of a disembodied stranger. She also enjoys bourbon and some wardrobe changes. And then there's the band at the end, full band showing up along with dancers. And you turn this into a production.
Well, yeah, her friend is a director, and he had a very involved idea, and it turned into almost a 3 full-day shoot with a whole crew. It became a magnus opus. But I love that video, and we filmed another right after that with him that's going to come out later. So, hey, I thought she's so striking as a performer and with her kind of theater background, and that I thought the way to introduce her is not just through tracks but through videos.
Again, for people who are listening or watching, the video is available. You can watch it anywhere, No Matter How Much is the video. As Johnny Iguana, the reptilian named Johnny Iguana, just said, more videos on the way, which is fantastic, an album too. Let's talk a little bit about the sound of the Claudettes. I mean, because this is what hooked me in. This is what, all this time later made me say, Johnny, you got to get in the car. Let's talk about the band. Again, that kind of mix of cabaret and blues and jazz. I'm assuming this is sonically something that poured out of your head.
Well, I had to come up with a designation for it because, the Spotify's and other categorizers of the world want you to choose from 7 genres. And gosh, you see blues rock and you're like, well, there's blues and rock in it, but my God, is this not blues rock? This isn't Foghat, So,
or Kenny Wayne Shepherd.
No. So I came up with Garage Cabaret, which unfortunately isn't a box I can ever tick. But I think there's a punky element to it, and there's a bluesy element to it. There's a garagey element to it, and there's like a silky smooth element to it too. That just from song to song. I mean, the drummer and I love classical. We talk about it all the time.
Classical.
And there's that sort of melodiousness and there's an elegance, but I mean, there's like a garage rock elegance to it. I think, as much as it seems like people. This one guy wrote up this postcard of all the influences he heard in our show, and it was like 50 different acts named all different kinds. And yet I think we have one sound. I think we have a unified sound, because one of the, had this band, Oh My God, and they had a band, Them Versus Them. And within those bands, I used organ and piano and synthesizer, all these different sounds. I decided for the Claudettes to go simple in terms of instruments. I was going to play acoustic piano. That there's enough variety just within the harmonies you can find and search and create and express just on the acoustic piano. So that was what it was going to be: piano and drums. And we expanded it with like bass and guitars. But it's really just, I tell sound people at shows, okay, make us as full as a big guitar band, but we don't have any Marshall Stacks as piano. So, I know it's the piano player talking, but make the piano loud.
To kind of go off what you were saying, when I first heard the Claudettes, there was something almost subversive about it. Like, there are traditional sounds, but it felt like you were kind of fucking stuff up.
Well, think about Violent Femmes, right? I mean, like in the middle of like an onslaught of post-punk bands, what did they do but take it to like folk territory in terms of the instrumentation?
Yeah, they busted out the xylophone and the acoustic guitar.
Yeah, and it was as punky as could be.
Yes, that's exactly it. Mm-hmm. So you've been at this now 10 years?
Yep, that's about just exactly right. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Our first record was 2013, so we've had 6 in 10 years. So. And we have more coming. So, hey, by the time you record something, you're on to something else. And I'm not a believer in perfection or having something too well manicured and putting it out at exactly the right time. Like by the time you get all the timing right, I've written 6 more songs. I'm ready to go.
I appreciate that approach. I feel like so many times people get past that point of diminishing returns where they should have just stopped. Like, imperfection's okay.
Yeah. Well, it also should speak to people. People, consider me, and through this, as far as the songs express, I must be pretty weird, because the wide range of emotions and sounds coming out of the music is maybe suggests schizophrenia or something. But everybody's weird, and it's just how do you let it out, or do you bottle it up?
Everybody's weird.
I don't know how people get by without music, the chance to just let that vent,
So musically, you've been at it since you were young. We were talking inside Fatso's. You came to Chicago at the age of 23.
Yeah,
which is very young to uproot, move to Chicago, and it was for a big deal. I mean, you were the touring piano player for Junior Wells.
Yeah, who was a particular hero of mine, not just a good gig. But when I was 16, I was in a band where we played mostly Junior Wells songs. It's pretty amazing to have met him by chance in New York City.
And so, yeah, as a 20-something, you're playing Messin' with the Kid with Junior on stage. That's huge.
It did feel that way, yeah.
Were you able to maintain that sense of, like, fan enthusiasm?
Not really, because, we went out for 35 days at a time, came home and went out for 35 days again. And, not all the shows were great, and there were different reasons why, but about a year, and also the bandmates changed, and the first crop of bandmates were very fascinating to me, and they were all veterans of Screamin' Jay Hawkins' band and James Cotton's band, and they had played with Buddy Guy and Magic Sam, and then some of those older guys moved on, and some young guys like me came in, and I just felt sort of like, these guys like me are kind of boring. I don't have much to learn from them.
Did you get good stories, though?
Oh, yeah, I kept 600 pages of journal entries.
Did you?
Yeah.
What have you done with those?
Oh, I started digitizing them recently. I hate my writing. I had just graduated as an English major, and I was so proud of my florid writing style that I should have just been a little more journalistic about it. I think I kind of practiced my art as a creative writing major in college with my daily memoirs, and it's just excruciating to read. I remember talking to my father-in-law and using the word penultimate unnecessarily, and he's like, "Why didn't you say that? Why don't you just say second to last?"
I agree with that. Well, the one word that makes me crazy that music journalists use is seminal. Can't you just say iconic, most significant work or something? Why does everything have to be seminal?
First of all, it isn't, right? How many things are iconic or seminal that just plain aren't?
Another overused word? Legendary. That's exactly what I was going to say. A true legend.
There's the triumvirate right there.
All right, so you toured with Junior Wells. What a great music education. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure that was a great creative evolution for you, like kind of learning who you were and wanted to be moving forward from there. Mm-hmm. Claudettes started 10 years ago.
Oh My God was in the middle.
Oh My God was in the middle. And what a time and scene.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I was on someone else's podcast a couple nights ago, and the question was, was the Chicago music scene better then or better then than now? I'm like, it's just different. There's still amazing stuff going on.
Yeah, I mean, we live in a Netflix world, and and people are still kind of stuck to their couches after COVID. So there are definitely hurdles to getting back to what feels like any kind of golden age of live music in terms of what I call prospecting. Back then, people would go to the Double Door just to go to the Double Door. So if you brought out 100 people, there might also be 80 people who were just there. That was pretty cool. I feel like venues don't really have that now.
No, you're right. I mean,
you gotta bring them out.
On the punk side, people would just show up at Fireside Bowl assuming, I'll probably see something I'll like.
Empty bottle, yeah.
Metro would do their local music nights.
Oh, yeah.
For like $5 on a Tuesday night.
That's right. Yeah.
And you roll the dice. Yeah, I'm sure I'll like one of them at least. Have a beer. Something's gonna connect with me.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to go about your life is to just trust the curation of these venues. You might get burned every now and then, but if you're going to go see a 3-band bill, you're probably going to like one of them. And either way, you're supporting art anyway. So,
Johnny, you have struck a nerve. Curation is something I keep coming back to.
Yeah.
I think it's missing from people's lives right now. Algorithms aren't doing it.
Well, and the performing arts centers, this is where the Claudettes were able to go to the East Coast and travel around the country, even just a couple of years ago, because we'd find these kind of what you call anchor gigs, a gig that pays pretty well because these performing arts centers, beautiful restored old theaters that would have an artistic director. More and more the artistic director is getting booted out and there's just a board of directors who are business people, so you have all tribute bands. Tribute bands, movies, and Christmas fair. That's kind of what you end up with. And I understand about having to put butts in seats and pay for the, utilities, but it would be great to at least have some sort of integrity. If you're going to, on one page, tout the majesty of the legacy of your room that you fully restored, but then poison it with the Fleetwood Mac experience and a night with Elton John, Elton John with two ends.
Yeah. Now, if they're doing Silver Springs and Madman Across the Water, I'll give them a little, a little berth. Let's talk about the Bear. How did you get involved with that?
Oh, well, you might remember my band, Them Versus Them, that I had. It was kind of a synth rock band around 2005. I think we started. We had a couple years, a couple recordings. JQ is well known in town. He's part of the Q Brothers, who were doing kind of hip-hop Shakespeare, but years before Hamilton, winning HBO Comedy Awards and going to the Globe Theater and having their stuff licensed all around the world. They've had productions at Chicago Shakes for years. But JQ is part of that theater group and that troupe that he's in, which is also a comedy troupe that he and his buddies used to have an MTV series called Scratch and Burn a long while ago. But JQ is a music guy. He's a producer, beat maker, rapper. And in Them Versus Them, I made him a singer because I recognized his really raspy voice. I think he had nodules in his throat when he was young, and it left him with Betty Davis eyes, kind of like raspy Kim Carnes voice. So a
reference I wasn't expecting tonight.
So he and I had that band Them Versus Them, and ever since then we've been collaborating, and we had really good training back then where we decided, hey, we're both busy guys. When we get together, we're going to come up with an idea for a song. We're going to make the music, we're going to make the words, and we're going to make a recording of it in that one session. So it set us up really, really well for years later when we got this opportunity to make the music for the Bear, because they might want something that is kind of like Hans Zimmer, classical-esque, real score sounding, or they might want something kind of pop punky or whatever for a different scene. And in that first season, we saw a bunch of the scenes, and we had to very quick turnaround, get it to them, and it has to be good.
I was going to ask, like, what kind of time frame were you working?
Instant, practically.
Oh,
but I grew up playing classical. I was in these blues bands. And, oh my God, was much punkier. I was always into punk bands. So pretty. That's why JQ asked me to do it with him when he had this opportunity, because he sets up the sessions, he does the beats and the kind of atmosphere and the percussive elements. But I'm the one that brings the chord changes and he's got these days on Logic, man, all that sounds you can get that are so good. You don't need, I hate to, some people put me out of work, and I feel like maybe I put some people out of work, that the pizzicato strings and these orchestral sounds are so good. And if you have an idea and he knows how to use compression and reverb and delays, we can quickly get something that really sounds like it is a real full-on studio production without being an Abbey Road, with the orchestra.
So, deadlines aside, was it a fun experience?
Oh yeah, well, it's fun because he and I just have a blast working together, and he just knows the marching orders, and he expects me to kind of come up with something really inspired and good really quickly, and then we kind of drive it home and finish off the track. But as far as coming up with the skeleton of it, the center of the piece, we don't have all day. We don't have half a day. We got 4 more to do today. So
I appreciate the creative challenge of that.
I do too. It's really a microcosm of what I was saying with even the Claudettes is like, we're not going to sit on recordings and put out an album in 11 months. No, in 11 months we'll have new stuff anyway. So with Jay and I, we just we already trained ourselves that way, where we wanted to, every time we get together, we're going to create something and it's going to be done. And later on we could say, I would have perfected it this way or that way, but generally it's 90% there, and I don't want to fuss over the last 10% over days or weeks.
Is that kind of work something you want to keep chasing after? Scoring?
It would. First of all, it sure pays better than most other kinds of gigs that come my way, and I think I'm good at it. But some people have told me in the past already, you got to move to Nashville, you got to move to LA over the years, and
it seems crazy to me. Maybe networking is the issue because, like you said, you can make anything with Logic, and you don't need to be anywhere.
No, but I could be schmoozing. I could be meeting the people I'm supposed to meet. And if I don't know, maybe if I was younger and I said, this is going to be my career, I just got to go where the action is and go to the parties. And I am sociable. I'll go to that party and hit the bar, but I'm not going to really go. And I'll talk if I'm in the mood, and I'll be funny if I'm kind of dialed in that day, and I might be morose and quiet otherwise, just like all of us. We have moods and good days and bad days. Mama said there'd be days like this. But I don't know if I'll have a career in that when I grow up, because I'm really, really busy writing Claudette's music, and that's my baby, the Claudettes. So
I get it.
I got time for all of it.
So for now, it's a fine side hustle.
Yeah, whatever. I don't know what's. It's all a hustle, I guess. But all the music that's coming to me for the Claudettes is free flowing right now, because I'm surrounded by bandmates that I feel lucky to be with, that inspire me, and I can hear them in my head. And when I write a new track, I can hear it in the studio before we've even gone in there, because I know just what they're going to sound like. We just did a track, and I knew it was quite easy to realize, because I already had it. I feel like it's a little bit of a gift that I can hear it in my head and then figure out what's not matching what's in my head, and then get closer and closer to it, and there it is.
Cool. I love that. So as far as not finishing the song, or not, that's the wrong way to say it, as far as like getting them out the door when they've hit a certain point, do you find yourself with songs kind of finishing them or exploring them more as you perform them live? Or do you stick to what you recorded?
The sweet spot is if you can write it and go out on the road with it, start playing it before it's really fully finished, when two people in the van vote, no, I'm not ready yet. Two say, yeah, let's do it. I'm like, okay, we're going to do it. We're going to start playing. We're going to fall on our face a little bit. Lately, we've been also recording our shows, and if you can, record it right at the moment where you feel like you've really realized the song, and you're also still discovering it, because people will hear that when you record it. If you've been just manicuring it for months and it's perfect, and you're still whittling away at the wood, and totally polishing it, I think there's something going to be, there's like a moment of discovery that's going to be lost. So I like to document it when you're most of the way there.
Again, new music on the 2024. We're going to get a whole lot more Claudettes. For now, no matter how much is available on video, there's a new video on the way. What's the name of the song that's on the way?
It's called Touch You Back. And, yeah, you know, we have a vinyl only 45 RPM EP coming out with 4 songs only at shows very early 2024.
Great.
And then those songs and some new ones we're recording are going to get rolled into an album release later in the year.
Awesome. And live show. You don't do them that often in Chicago. Old Town School of Folk Music on Saturday. Sounds that all just sound perfectly awesome together, and unlike anything else I think you'll see on stage in Chicago. So
yeah, and you know, I felt very strongly about the music the whole way through, and really with Rachel joining the group, it's people are coming up afterwards like speechless. I mean, I know I'm talking about my own band here, but she's funny. And she's theatrical, and she is weird in a way that I would insist on someone in my band to express themselves. But again, it's not, you know, weird for the sake of weird doesn't do it for me. Like naturally weird, expressively weird is great.
I agree with that. All right, well, I can't wait to see you. Thank you for diving back into the world of Italian beef for me.
Well, and I will say, I'm ignoring the bread here. You might have noticed, everybody might notice me with my mitts here, just pulling out the meat and stuffing it in my face.
That's what I've been doing.
Like I'm in a prison and this is a bucket, you know, shoved it through the door.
I've frequently had this podcast described as being in stir.
Yeah. Well, but the flavors I do like. We'll do it in Philly sometime. And then have you had a Philly cheesesteak?
I've never had an authentic Philly cheesesteak.
I first knew it was wrong in Chicago. There was a place here that claimed to have them, and when you order it, first of all, they're polite to you, dead giveaway, not Philly. But second of all, they say, have a seat, that'll be ready in about 15 minutes. It should be ready in 15 seconds. They scoop it right off the grill and shove it at you. So there was a problem with that place, not authentic. I'll leave out the name of the place, but it was on Belmont Avenue.
Okay. Johnny, thank you for doing this.
Thank you, man. Thanks for calling.